Hi, I'm Angela Williams, and welcome to Voice Up for the Voiceless.
Well, hello, everyone. I'm Christa Marshall, and I am so excited because I actually have an opportunity of hosting and interviewing Angela Williams and her amazing and incredible husband, Phil. And so today we're going to be talking about intimacy and personal intimacy, relational intimacy, but also too sexual intimacy, because that's one of those things that we really do see that is an issue once you've gone through sexual abuse. So we're going to just go ahead and hop right in. Hi. Hello.
Hi.
How are y'all feeling?
Good.
Yeah.
We're feeling like we're on the hot seat.
Yeah, I know. And I was just telling them before we kind of got going is that like I love and respect them so much. So I'm like, I feel like I'm in their bedroom and in their personal space, but we're definitely going to make it work today because this is, again, a super, super important topic for all of those that are involved, that are about to get married, that are married, and we're just gonna kind of go right in. So if you don't mind, Phil, tell me a little bit about who you are and who Angela is to you.
Well, and obviously Angela's husband, 40 years.
Wow.
Met in college, Georgia Southern.
Wow.
Immediate connection.
Yeah.
You know, that chemistry, that
Yes.
chemical ignited.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Oh man, this is interesting.
Yeah.
And then 2 kids. I'm just retired last year.
Wow.
Stayed home to take care of our grandson a little
Wow.
bit. But
3
look
grandkids?
at 3 grandkids, 2 in Colorado and 1 here in Atlanta. And just living a dream.
Wow. That is so awesome. And so one thing that we do know is that Angela had gone through a significant history of sexual abuse. And so when you were kind of informed of that, what was the position, or kind of where was your heart toward her regarding that?
Well, when I first met her, I told you that chemical reaction happened, you know, like that spark. But she was just drop dead gorgeous.
Yeah.
I mean, just
still
beautiful.
is. Yeah.
But there was this behind her eyes. You could see that there was something there. There was I wouldn't call it pain, but it was just there. I mean, it was like that darkness that was there. But she just kept it on such an energy and such a light and liveliness about her that it really did mask that, but I could still see it.
Yeah.
So that was a little intriguing. At the same time, I was like, okay, wonder what that's there, because I've had my own pain from childhood. My mom was an alcoholic, and just different things that happened and growing up. So I could relate.
Right.
But I just didn't know the depth. I didn't know the detail of what it was about. And it took probably a couple of months for her to share some of it. And then there were times with the topic we're talking about today, intimacy, when I would try to kiss her or hold her or have any kind of intimate connection, that you should twitch, or she'd have a thing like, okay, what did I just do? Where did that come from?
Right.
You know?
Right.
And so, and over time, it was revealed. But at the same time, God really did tweak something in me for her.
Wow.
And there was nothing that was going to stop me from pursuing her and trying to love her as fully as she deserved to be loved.
Wow,
So
that's awesome. So, Angela, can you tell me a little bit about what were those little tweaks? So, what's Phil talking about? What were some of those things that you were feeling when?
Well, when he first started our first relationship, I just really immediately fell in love with him. Like it was immediate. It was our first date. We wound up on the top of the Hyatt. It was so romantic. The ships were, sailing by. The clock at the Capitol started to chime at midnight. We both started just sharing about our lives, and we both had in common just this horrific dysfunctional childhoods. And I didn't, of course, reveal how dysfunctional mine was, but we both have dreamed for a happy family. So in our 20s,
for a happy family.
That was, we both said that almost at the same time, and we just looked at each other. And after that night, that deep love that I felt for him, I felt I needed to protect him from me.
Wow.
Like I felt like he deserves a great, precious, innocent woman
Wow.
that doesn't have all this baggage. And so in the beginning, those tweaks were just to build my wall up, just to keep him at a distance and to help him go find that good girl,
Wow.
because I wasn't it.
So it was immediate self-sabotage.
It was immediate self-sabotage. And as we grew, and that happened for months, and he kept pursuing me and finally told me that he had fallen in love with me.
Wow.
And I remember when I heard those words, I was just like, I was so overwhelmed with emotion. It's like, you don't even know what you're falling in love with.
Wow.
Like, you don't even know.
Wow.
And I couldn't tell him. Like, how do you unload all of that in someone that you care so much about?
Right.
And I didn't want him to look at me differently. I never wanted anybody's sympathy. I was tough. I was a tough cookie, and I don't want you feeling sorry for me.
Wow.
Because I got this.
Yeah. Yeah.
So God did a work in my heart, and he just kept chipping away. And the more I pushed, the more I ran, the harder he chased.
Wow.
And he chased in a way that gave me space.
Wow.
He didn't chase in a way that was forceful. He didn't chase in a way that was demanding anything of me. He just chased in a way that he would want to talk to me on the phone all night long.
Wow.
He would want to hold my hand.
Wow.
He would want to just be with me. I remember one time we went on a little fishing trip in this little John boat on the water. And it was just such a precious, innocent time. Like, there was no expectation of me other than he wanted to spend time with me.
Yeah.
And so I think that was the beginning of just seeing that this was a patient man, that this was a kind man, and that maybe, just maybe, he might be my Prince Charming.
Wow.
I'm sorry, I don't know why I'm so blubbering. But just maybe I could have a chance at happiness.
Yeah.
Just maybe. And that little window just kind of opened. That maybe what would that look like?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, there was one weekend, though, that I think was kind of a turning point. That we'd worked, had a good week. I came home. She had just gotten off work, got home. And immediately we started arguing. No reason, just right out of the gate. Friday night, looking forward to a great weekend.
Yeah.
It's like, what is going on?
Yeah.
Like, so we kind of go round, about the third round.
Yeah.
It's like, I got her by the arm, so I looked at her, I got her right in her face, like, why are you doing this?
Wow.
I'm not going anywhere.
Wow.
You have a choice. We can live like this, or we can move past this. I'm not going anywhere. And it's those words saying, I'm not going anywhere. And we're either going to have fights and roller coaster rides, and we're going to have fights and stuff. But not just flipping switches just to have a fight, just to see if she could push me away.
Yeah.
I pushed every button he had. I really did. I thought anybody who had ever loved me had left me or hurt me. So I intentionally pushed his buttons to see how far I could push him away. And you talk about that self-sabotage.
Yes.
So many survivors self-sabotage because we either don't think we deserve it, or we think everybody else hurt me, so you're going to hurt me too.
Wow.
And we prejudge. And we don't give ourselves the opportunity to take those walls down and let somebody truly love us for who we are.
Wow. 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 This has been awesome already, and now I guess we'll go ahead and kind of transition a little bit into intimacy and physical intimacy. So it sounds as though, Phil, if I'm not mistaken, you really had a great foundation set for her to be able to trust you. And that kind of came in with, yes, no?
I was building that foundation. I wouldn't say it was a good, solid set foundation at that point.
Okay.
Because he came with his own baggage, too.
Okay.
I mean, I had, for a long time, thought of intercourse and sex as love. I would date and have relationship and not having, because of my childhood and the things that were going on, I felt like I had not been, what did I need to do to be loved?
Right.
And why wasn't I good enough?
Right.
So, and I applied a lot of those questions, filters, to relationships with women and girls. And so I would say, okay, well, if I can please her, then I'm loving her. She's loving me because she just had pleasure.
Right.
that was totally wrong. I mean, that was just the wrong
Right.
mindset.
Right.
I mean, it's God created this so that having sexual relationships is obviously physical, but also in the right context is the most spiritual thing you can
Absolutely.
do.
Yes.
When you have that climax, that especially when you're together, that intercourse of two people becoming one, that's the level of intimacy. When we got to that point, and I stopped, and it took us a while because I would touch her at certain times, especially early in our relationship. And again, that flinch was there. And I would know that I just triggered something because by this time in our relationship, she had disclosed a lot.
And where would you say you were in the relationship? How many years?
I would 2
or 3 years.
2 or 3.
Yeah.
So you had gotten a lot of the story. You
yeah,
knew the back history.
And it would come out in drips and drabs. And a lot of it, some of it, she would like, this just reminded me of this event. And she would share that. A lot of times she didn't. In the first couple of years, it was basically her having nightmares and dreams that she'd wake up and it'd wake me up.
Yeah.
Because she'd be crying and like, no.
It was just too horrible to share.
And
I just felt like it was too hard for somebody to hear. And I'm sure a lot of survivors feel like that what I've been through is just too hard. But I built up walls because I had a pattern of not giving my abuser the satisfaction of having him please me. So I locked that away. I could force myself not to feel. And I'm sure survivors can relate to that.
Yeah.
And then I would disassociate. So you just don't come out of an abusive relationship of 14 years and then all of a sudden those patterns just go away.
Right.
Those habits just go away.
Right.
So when I had a loving partner that was my husband that I wanted to have intimacy with, I had to force myself to feel. I had to force myself to be present.
What did that look like?
It didn't happen overnight. It looked like a lot of prayer and a lot of understanding that he was not my abuser, that he was trying to love me, and I wanted a good, healthy, intimate relationship. And we both just really had to pray Satan out of our bedroom and invite Jesus in.
Wow.
And I know that sounds crazy.
No.
But Satan would attack at times that we would want to have an intimate evening, even on the date, like leading up to intimacy. We would go out on a beautiful date. And from the conversation that would leave my lips to hit his ears, Satan would be all over it. And we would just argue over the stupidest things until we realized Satan is trying to attack this evening.
Yes.
And and if we had allowed it, he would have attacked it all the way through our intimate moments.
Yes.
And so we had to start covering our bedroom in prayer.
Wow.
But also, I want to go back though to when so many times that she would have those nightmares, and I'd wake up and I'd wake her up, and she would be crying, and I would try to dive into it. Okay, I'm Dr. Phil.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah,
I am not a Dr.
Right.
Phil. I'm telling you, but I wanted to fix her.
Yeah,
which is not a good thing when you've got something that's this deep that I did not have full understanding of actually what to say or how to say it or what to do. It's just like, okay, well, do what I did. Just box it up and put it in a dark corner. And, you know, if anything comes out, we'll deal with it.
Right.
Well, that's wrong.
Yeah.
But I finally got to a point, and it was God. And I guess it was one of the praying about it. But I hear God right in here. And he heard him one night. I started to go into sleep. Phil, you just need to be quiet. You just need to look at her and say, I love you. I don't understand, but I'm here. When I just got present and started trying to fix it, and I just let her know that I was present, that's when that level of trust that you were talking about, you were leading up to that question of that, because it does require in this situation her being able to trust. And I have to trust that I'm not doing anything wrong. It's just I did something that reminded her of something.
So triggering for survivors is very real.
Wow.
It's how your abuser touched you or how your abuser tried to seduce you or how and those triggers, they're again, just like the patterns, the triggers don't disappear. So we have a very difficult time opening our mouth and having a voice because our voice was taken from us and the secret, the silence. So I had to learn how to communicate to Phil what the triggers were, when I was having a good day, when I was having a bad day, and we just set a plan.
Wow.
So I think if couples could begin to talk about sex outside the bedroom,
Yeah. Wow.
and really have a plan
Mm-hmm.
that if right now I'm struggling, I am raw, I am trying to heal from this, and I need to be the instigator of sex for the
Mhm.
next until I tell you otherwise. So we had that plan in place for a while.
And I want to describe that plan.
I want to know.
We would get in bed, and I would snuggle with a spoon. And if she was in a good mood or in a mood of desiring it, she would rub up against me and do a little
Right, the little toot.
bump deal. I'm like, okay, she's so good. Hey, you know. And then I would make sure one of the triggers that I didn't realize that she told me about was my bad breath. If I did not brush my teeth before I came to bed, she would like, and it would instantly go. So that was one of those things. But I would know that, okay, she's snuggled. I would hopefully brush my teeth before I came to bed anyway. But especially if she gave me the little signal, I was up and getting my teeth brushed.
Right,
Like getting ready. But there's little things like that that communicating, because I couldn't read her mind.
Right.
I couldn't read past why she was acting this way or not acting this way. So when we finally got that level of communication going, and open communication about it, and I stopped trying to take that information and fix her with it.
Yes.
That's both sides of that had to occur.
Wow.
And then being honest, I think, with your partner about what's okay and what's not okay. I think it's okay to set boundaries in the bedroom. You know, I'm sure and marriage is about servanthood. It's about serving your spouse. So obviously you want to please your spouse, but there are some things that are not okay.
Yeah.
You know, and you just need to be honest with that up front.
And how did that feel, just talking to Phil about the things that you were okay with and not okay with? Like, did you ever deal with shame?
Very vulnerable. Yeah. You were very vulnerable, but it grew us. You know, the hard things that we do in our life grows us.
It grows you. Yes.
So I just challenge couples out there to have the hard conversations, because you can't, if you're having something done to you that you're not comfortable with, you can't obviously continue in that very intimate closeness. And that's what sex is about, is bring two people together, like Phil says, as one.
Right.
And if somebody's doing something to you that makes you uncomfortable or that hurts you, and they don't have a clue, they don't know,
right,
then, you know, you have to open your mouth and talk about it.
Right.
And it's not always comfortable, but the more conversations you have about it, the more comfortable you get.
Yeah.
And it just is the closeness that brings us together.
Yeah.
And now I don't have to give them a signal anymore.
Yeah.
Like it was for a season.
Yeah.
Yep.
And now it's just natural, you know, lovemaking.
Yes.
And at our age, it's more seldom than we like that. But those intimate times are very beautiful.
Yes.
And so I just want to encourage survivors out there, if you're struggling in the bedroom, if you're struggling with intimacy, it is a season and it will pass. But it will only pass if you take the initiative and if you speak it to your partner and tell them, your husband, what you need and what are the triggers. And the triggers won't always be there either. They fade.
Right.
Once you face them head on, and once you say, this is not going to dictate my life.
Right. Right.
You know, and my stepfather used to try to, you know, kiss my neck. So when he would kiss my neck, I'd be like, ugh.
Right. Absolutely.
But now it's over. Like that season has passed. I'm healed from that. So just to know that what is a trigger today may not be a trigger tomorrow.
Wow.
So just stay the course and just use your voice and know that your partner loves you, that your husband loves you.
Yeah.
And to learn how to love them without the filter of the abuse.
And just another piece of advice for the husbands that are doing this: just be compassionate with what's being disclosed, and take it to heart and really listen. I mean, if you're going to sit down, you're going to have these conversations. Focus,
right,
and give them the time and the honor. If they're going to go through this, it's work. It's work for her part. It's work on my part. And don't have any judgment. Don't judge yourself for doing something wrong that you didn't know, but guys want to do that too. And don't judge them either.
Right.
So if you can get to that point and put in the work and the effort and communication, it can truly be wonderful.
Wow.
I
That
love
is
your
so
three
awesome.
C's that you shared in a past show. It was caring, compassion, and communication.
Wow.
Right?
Hmm.
Those are three great C's.
Those are amazing. Yeah, definitely. So, kind of wrapping here, I have a question. So, we know what sex and intimacy was like for you beforehand. What can you tell our viewers? What can they look forward to once they walk through the process of building their intimacy with one another? What can they look forward to?
Woohoo! Just freedom. I think just freedom.
Mm-hmm.
Just freedom to love on your spouse.
Yes.
And have them love on you. And our intimacy is so beautiful now. We've been married 40 years.
Wow.
So it just gets better.
Yes.
Well, I mean, when we finally started getting to the point where it was going good,
Right.
we'd do adventurous things too.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, we
As far as
do.
so there is a boundary there. I can't talk about the cars or the beach lounge chairs.
Okay, yeah.
all those things. Like
She loves Santa Rosa, right? Listen.
Yeah. But no, seriously.
Yeah.
There's have fun.
Yes.
You know.
Yeah.
Because you're connected, and it's a beautiful thing when you,
Right.
like I said, one of the spiritual connections you can have with other individuals in that moment.
Yeah.
And I just want to say one thing.
Yes.
That bring romance back into your relationship. Bring the romance. This man has run beautiful tubs with candles and rose petals.
Wow.
And he's had picnic dinners. And he's blindfolded me in the car to take me somewhere just as a surprise. In the bedroom.
I was about to say, you gave me some boundaries there. Like,
Right.
No, he's taken me on adventures. Plan a vacation, plan your date nights, plan your vacation, plan your times together, where it's just the two of you with no interruptions and no distractions, and bring the romance back.
Yeah.
Like, I think a lot of couples are missing that.
Yeah.
Those romantic, intimate times, those candlelight dinners. And,
Yes.
just one fun time when our kids are really small, and you get babysitters. It's
Yeah.
like, oh, we're out, and it's like, what do you want to do? I don't know. What do you want to do? So we're parking.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And I want to say too, intimacy doesn't always mean sex.
No.
It's like I'm holding this man's hand. Just holding his hand gives me that closeness with him.
Wow. Wow.
I love you. This is my soulmate.
Oh.
I am one of the blessed ones.
Yes,
I have
absolutely.
Had 40 amazing years of marriage.
Wow.
I'm so grateful for it.
Yeah. Wow. That is so awesome. That is awesome. Well, I can say that you guys have definitely been an example of what it means to stay the course. God has definitely used you to, even for my own marriage, we didn't go through everything that you all have been through, but we've gone through stuff, and you all have been such a phenomenal example. And it also just shows me, as you evolve and get older and time increases, like there's so much more to look forward to. Sometimes the enemy wants to make it seem as though this is it. This is the cap. This is what life is going to be like. This is intimacy. But you guys have just definitely plowed through that ceiling and set an example, which I love so much. So I love y'all. Thank you so much.
And I want to do a
Thank
shameless
you.
plug
Yeah.
for a book that's on angelasvoice.com/resources, and it's called True Intimacy. And this really is about intimacy with God, intimacy with other people, but also it digs deep into intimacy with your spouse. So True Intimacy, great book that we wrote and that he helped me write.
Oh, awesome. That's so great. So, well, thank you all so much for being here with us today. We want to thank all of our sponsors. We want to thank Mesmerized Media. Thank you so much, Phil, for being here with us. Thank you so much, Angela, for allowing us into your personal and private spaces in your home. And again, thank you all so much for just being such a phenomenal listening audience. And so we love your support. If you could go to angelasvoice.com, we would love donations or whatever you can do to help and support our mission and our ministry. So thank you so much. And I'm Christa Marshall.
And I'm Angela Williams. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you.